Fascinating conversation. Fascinating conversation. I'm not sure we've solved any problems, but sometimes it's just nice to have a conversation with other people who get it. Because a lot of the times we feel isolated. A lot of the times we feel we are battling our way upstream, like these salmon being battered back. And just to be in a community of people who get it and understand it can sometimes be reassuring. Give us a bit of validation to what we're doing. And I think that's an important thing as well. We need a bit of some validation sometimes that we are on the side of the good people. We're on the side of just righteousness and justice on every aspect. So, Eduard, let's bring you in from Barcelona, and please share your final thoughts.
Well, I have some thoughts about this thing that David told about. There is no responsibility about some policies that have consequences in the people, bad consequences. Okay, and I was thinking about happy policies. I mean happy policies. That policies that have a goal, a very happy goal. I am thinking about the energy transition, okay, in the cities. I'm thinking about the shift of the energy resources to the clean ones, okay. It's very good goal, okay, but there is no planning. There is no planning about that, okay. Then the thing that say Tatiana about we need to study the consequences of every impact. Okay, let's think about the impact of this energy transition in the cities. Okay, are our cities ready for this transition? We have a good energy supply network in the cities for doing this shift to gas, to electricity, to clean electricity. Okay, this change of consumption with the way of consumption of energy. Okay, and the other is a resilient change. This to change all the kind of energy resources only for electricity, depending only in electricity. Okay, yes, it's clean electricity is good, but I don't know if cities is more resilient depending only in one energy resource. Okay, and again, talk about communication and information. We have, as an expert, as engineers, I am civil engineer. Okay, we have the responsibility to communicate well to people and to do the good information for people, and I'm a politician too, and to talk about honestly the responsibilities of politician and have this kind of honest communication with them, with politicians and with citizens. Okay, because we have the experts, we have the information, we have the data, we have maps, we have many things that can be expressed in a good way and with easy words. We have to think talk with easy words for everybody. Everybody can understand what's happening, and this is all for me. Thank you.
It is very much about, you're right, it's about risk communication in a way that makes sense to people and is realistic and realizable. And it's incremental, because people don't like radical change. Radical change is also threatening. And that is part of the journey we're all on together. Kirsten, let's bring you in, and both from your local perspective, but also from your new Victoria State perspective.
Yeah, so I was just going to say it's been a really good conversation, and you're right. It's great to hear that that your thinking is in line with other people in other parts of the world. I'll be taking. I think I've grabbed a lot of the links out of the chat. I'll be having a look at that information. my scope of my project work at state level, there's at the moment, there's no boundaries around that, which is good. So the scope is quite broad. I have no doubts that that's going to come in, be like smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on, and you try to think about what am I going to sell to the minister. I'm coming to that project with an open mind. Let's try and fix as much as possibly can, and just hope for the best.
Yep. I mean,
Thank
again,
you, David.
Thank you, Kirsten. I mean, again, it goes back to that phrase: think global, act local. And a lot of it comes down to being a good neighbor. I mean, I'm really convinced if you're not quite sure what to do, be a good neighbor. That is a really good starting point. Anna Jacobson, let's bring you in. Been great to have you here, Anna. I'm going to be in your offices actually this afternoon. Pity you're not going to be there.
Cool. Well, it's a shame I'm not there.
Yeah, next time. Okay, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. And it's been a sort of pleasure connecting and listening to people. And going back to your point around, it's actually quite comforting to be in a group, because we need to build resilience as well as individuals. I think it can be a very difficult space to be in when you're passionate about these issues and you feel like someone mentioned hitting their head against brick walls continuously and not enough progress, and the world is in a dire strait and you don't see the acceleration of action that's needed. So I think having a community that sort of can where you can share some of the fears and some of the hopes is really great. But how do we connect the rest to sort of the people who are not convinced? And I think we haven't talked much about sort of climate storytelling, but I think that's really, really key in terms of bringing the broader community in. And I think sharing, not just the challenges, as many of the climate sort of storytelling is about, but also some of the positive outcomes. And it's been mentioned here today several times that, how do we learn from other successful initiatives and how can we get to a place where that can then be replicated? So I think much more connectedness across cities, regions, countries, businesses, government, local councils, etc., in terms of just listening, learning, and trying to implement some of the things that have been really positive. That's been a takeaway for me.
What does COP stand for? I think is it collaboration of partners, or is it collaboration or something? It's something of partners, isn't it? COP actually stands for. I think we need a collaboration of good people. We need to get the good people on, because there's people who are bad. I'm sorry, there's bad people. There's bad people doing bad things to this planet and walking away with short-term profits. And we need to have the collaboration of the good people. What we're going to do is I'm going to set up on a LinkedIn group for the Centre for the Study of Wicked Problems. I think we'll try and go into our website and try and set up a chat group there. But anyway, in short terms, what we'll do, conference of the parties. Thank you, Andrew. What I'll do is I'll set up a Centre for Study of Wicked Problems LinkedIn group. And I'll send a link to everybody. Come on there, but please feel free to share your thoughts. Be contributing to that. We actually absolutely believe that we want to be action-orientated, policy-orientated, and we believe that you can make a difference if you work small, you work with people. Be a good neighbor. You can make a difference, and that brings us. I think Tatiana has dropped out, and if I'm wrong on that, Tatiana, please come in. But I think you've dropped out, which Chris brings you to finally have the final words. Before I do that, can I just ask those of you who are left from our global audience just to thank our panelists, put some comments up in the chat. I hope you've appreciated. We've appreciated you, and thank you everybody for your support and for your input, and for just being part of this community. I think Anna mentioned being resilient ourselves. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, these are tough times. These are tough times for everybody. They are. And I think that having a community like this adds real value to all of us. I hope it does. And so thank you to everybody. Chris, let's bring you in.
Yes, thanks, David. A couple of points. I think our governments have got to develop courage. if we're going to make any real headway in these things, they've got to stop backpedaling, as we saw in COP29 and all these making excuses. But as we have a phrase here, I don't know if it sells well overseas, we have to hold their feet to the fire. It isn't good enough for us to just tolerate as citizens, and most of us are in democracies or somewhere where we have an opportunity to influence our leaders. We've been too tolerant. We've been too nice. We have to be more insistent, because we're a bit like Nero. We're sort of fiddling while Rome's burning. And sure, we're putting rooftop solar on our homes in Australia. We're doing all these things as individuals, but we're not pushing our governments to do better. And as a result, we're just watching things slide into possibly oblivion. And is this really what we want? Is this the sort of world we want, where our children and grandchildren will come into a world where we have a report in Australia called Nation Shard, where we just accept that large chunks of our cities will burn or flood? Is that really what we want? Or should we be trying to make a difference now?
Thanks, Chris. People have spoken about wicked problems. There's also super wicked problems. It's the next generation. And some of the defining characteristics is a lack of sense of urgency, and a belief that something will happen later. That we're allowed to push it down the road because somebody somewhere will find a solution to this, and therefore it will all be okay. Well, one of the characteristics of that is that the people who created the problems claim that they are the ones who can help sort it out. So it is, oil and gas companies claiming that they can deal with pollution, or food companies claiming they can deal with obesity, or financial institutions claiming they can deal with global debt. I think that we are going to see some significant changes, as we've all alluded to, and it's going to be community based. It's going to be about ownership, about empowerment, and it's about holding those responsible. There has to be somebody somewhere has to be held responsible. We try to be a good neighbour in the ISRM. Thank you to everybody. If there's anything we can do to support you wherever you are doing whatever you do, feel free to let us know. If you just want to have a chat about this sort of stuff, let me know. We love chatting about this sort of stuff. And if there's ever anything you think we can do together, feel free to let me know. We love collaboration anywhere in the world. Thank you to everybody. I hope this is just part of a conversation, the start of a conversation. I hope you are safe wherever you are. The rest of this year goes well for you. And I look forward very much to seeing what we can do together in 2025. But for today, 26th of November, 2024, thank you to everybody. Stay safe.